This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. So right now, Donald Trump is getting exactly what he wants, which is some kind of a trumped up, no pun intended, trumped up culture war, touch point controversy for his campaign surrounding social media and the censorship of conservatives online. One, all of this is nonsense. None of this is happening. If there's any censorship going on, especially related to Donald Trump, it's fact-checking. It's the fact that he has told tens of thousands of lies over the course of his brief time as president. Not even one term. He has told tens of thousands of lies. Provable, verifiably false things. And like I talked about the other day, Twitter decided to put a little disclaimer at the bottom of a tweet saying, hey, for more information about this, check out this, because what he's saying is not true. Now, you could be on either side of this issue, but there is one solid, resounding fact about this, and that is fact-checking what someone says is not an abridgment of their speech. It is not violating their free speech if I say, hey, this house is on fire, and someone looks around and says, no, not on fire, my free speech rights were not violated. Especially if it's a lie. If the house isn't on fire, and someone Facebook Lives the house, nope, not on fire, it's not a violation. Well, Mark Zuckerberg has jumped into this debate in some kind of a back and forth feud with Jack Dorsey, who is the creator, the founder, the CEO of Twitter. Because Mark Zuckerberg has a different policy over at Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, you'll remember, is at least partly responsible for the election of Donald Trump, giving the keys of the kingdom to Cambridge Analytica, allowing them voluminous, immeasurable user data in order to do psychographic profiles on hundreds of millions of people. That is a fact. Now look, everybody should be suspicious of people with great power who don't want to take responsibility for things. Mark Zuckerberg is that type. He has immense power in his position as the creator and the guy who runs Facebook. Billions of people. I think they're billions now. Maybe it's like 1.5 billion people are on Facebook. A massive swath of the population of planet Earth uses his platform. He has access to their data, where they live, where they go, where they shop, what they buy, who they interact with. And then given a minor task of fact-checking things that are damaging to democracy, harmful to the future of this country, we'll just talk about America, he passes the buck. I can't be held to that. That's not my job. Free speech shouldn't be regulated. Well, maybe that's true. But he has a responsibility. And now he's saying that Facebook and any internet platform shouldn't be the arbiters of truth. Again, I do agree that free speech is precious. That's how I make a living, is utilizing my free speech rights under the Constitution of this country. And I wouldn't like it if someone came along and shut me down and closed me down, not allowing me to speak. That would be a problem. But slapping a free speech warning on something or slapping a fact check on something isn't a violation of anybody's rights. The other problem with Mark Zuckerberg, and we're going to get to some of these clips here, but the other problem with Mark Zuckerberg is that it's different rules for different people. Donald Trump can do what he wants. He can say what he wants. He's not going to be fact-checked on Facebook. He's not going to be curtailed in any way. Even in his paid political ads, he can lie. Outright lie. Well, Mark Zuckerberg was on CNBC yesterday with Andrew Sorkin, and this little exchange happened about who is the arbiter of truth. Check it out.
We're different companies, but I think we've been pretty clear on what I think the right approach is, which is that I don't think that Facebook or internet platforms in general should be arbiters of truth. I think that's a kind of a dangerous line to get down to in terms of deciding what is true and what isn't. And I think political speech is one of the most sensitive parts in a democracy. And people should be able to see what politicians say. And there's a ton of scrutiny already. Political speech is the most scrutinized speech already by a lot of the media.
Now here's the problem with this. Him saying that Facebook shouldn't be the arbiters of truth, that no internet platform should be, and that it's dangerous to decide what is true. It's dangerous to decide what is true. If it is true, it is true. There is no way to twist it. It's not an opinion. For instance, vaccines don't cause autism. Fact. That doesn't matter if you disagree with that conclusion, with that fact. As internet famous morons would say, facts don't care about your feelings. The problem lies in the fact that Zuckerberg is playing two sides here. He's allowing Donald Trump to run roughshod over the truth, over democracy, over important democratic norms in our country, while out of that same mouth, using those same hands, he doesn't want to decide what's true. He's slapping warning labels on political ads from the Lincoln Project. This, for instance, this political ad, Morning in America, is met with a giant warning before you can click the video. Danger! This has been fact-checked. But he won't do it to Donald Trump. In fact, I'm going to play the video. Here's the video, Morning in America, that was so outrageous, it needed a fact-check warning label on it on Facebook.
There's morning in America. Today, more than 60,000 Americans have died from a deadly virus Donald Trump ignored. With the economy in shambles, more than 26 million Americans are out of work, the worst economy in decades. Trump bailed out Wall Street, but not Main Street. This afternoon, millions of Americans will apply for unemployment, and with their savings run out, many are giving up hope. Millions worry that a loved one won't survive COVID-19. There's mourning in America, and under the leadership of Donald Trump, our country is weaker and sicker and poorer. And now, Americans are asking, if we have another 4 years like this, will there even be an America?
Paid for by the Lincoln Project, which is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Pretty good ad. Second, and more importantly, that fact-check warning came after a 1 a.m. multi-tweet Twitter rant from Donald Trump where he was saying a group of rhino Republicans who failed badly 12 years ago, then again 8 years ago, and then got badly beaten by me, a political first-timer, 4 years ago, have copied, no imagination, the concept of an ad from Ronald Reagan, Morning in America, doing everything possible to get even for all of their many failures. You see, these loser types don't care about 252 new federal judges, 2 great Supreme Court justices, a rebuilt military, a protected Second Amendment, biggest ever tax and regulation cuts, and much more. I didn't use any of them because they don't know how to win, and their so-called Lincoln Project is a disgrace to Honest Abe. I don't know what Kellyanne did to her deranged loser of a husband, Moonface, but it must have been really bad. John Weaver lost big for Kasich, to me. Crazed Rick Wilson lost for Evan McMuffin McMullen, to me. Steve Schmidt and Reed Galvin lost for John McCain. Romney's campaign manager, ? Lost to Big O, and Jennifer Horn got thrown out of the New Hampshire Republican Party. They're all losers. But Abe Lincoln, Republican, is all smiles. First of all, Donald Trump, you swamp rat with a wig. The venerated name of Abraham Lincoln should not cross your filthy cheeseburger lips, dipshit. A man who endeavored to free the slaves and indeed did. You are a speck in an ocean of leadership that Lincoln fills. Fucking clown. Mark Zuckerberg just the other day said something very similar to what he said yesterday with Dana Perino, where he talked about the same stuff. They shouldn't be arbiters of truth. But he also added this about how crystal clear Facebook policies are on this and how easily to understand they are. Watch this.
This week, the president has been continuing to tweet about a intern for Joe Scarborough, now at MSNBC. Then he was a congressman. She passed away. The coroner's office said it was because she had a heart condition. The widower has asked Twitter to delete the tweets, but the tweets are then cross-promoted and cross-posted on Facebook. Do you think that goes to your political speech policy as well, or would that be a different scenario for you?
Well, let me just be clear about what our rules are. I don't think it's appropriate for Facebook to do fact-checking, but we do have clear policies. And if anyone violates them, whether you're a high-ranking government official like the president or anyone on our platform, we do have to take action.
Let me be clear about what our policies are. We have very clear policies. Cartoon voice human robot. Let me put into perspective just how murky the waters are over there at Facebook. Fox News, Facebook. Just how non-clear they are. Back in October, Mark Zuckerberg sat for some testimony, sat in hearings, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had a line of questioning with him. He's the top guy at Facebook, the head of the mountain. And if he can't articulate the policies of Facebook, if he can't tell what the rules are at Facebook, who is? They're not even clear enough for him to understand or articulate. How can he claim that they are clear and easy? Watch this exchange. This is a little longer than I normally play, but you gotta sit through it because it is remarkable how ridiculous all of this is. Watch Mark Zuckerberg crumple under the weight of the questions from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
You announced recently that the official policy of Facebook now allows politicians to pay to spread disinformation in 2020 elections and in the future. So I just want to know how far I can push this in the next year. Under your policy, using census data as well, could I pay to target predominantly black zip codes and advertise them the incorrect election date?
No, Congresswoman, you couldn't. We have, even for these policies around the newsworthiness of content that politicians say and the general principle that I believe that.
But you said you're not going to fact check my ads.
We have, if anyone, including a politician, is saying things that can cause, that is calling for violence or could risk imminent physical harm or voter or census suppression when we roll out the census suppression policy, we will take that content down.
So you will. There is some threshold where you will fact check political advertisements. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, Congresswoman, yes, for specific things like that, where there's imminent risk of harm.
Could I run ads targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Would I be able to run advertisements on Facebook targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal? I mean, if you're not fact-checking political advertisements, I'm just trying to understand the bounds here. What's fair game?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I think
so. You don't know if I'll be able to do that.
I think probably.
Do you see a potential problem here with a complete lack of fact-checking on political advertisements?
Well, Congresswoman, I think lying is bad, and I think if you were to run an ad that had a lie, that would be bad. That's different from it being, in our position, the right thing to do to prevent your constituents or people in an election from seeing that you had lied.
So you won't take down lies, or you will take down lies? I think it's just a pretty simple yes or no.
Congresswoman,
I'm not talking about spin. I'm talking about actual
yes, in most cases, in a democracy, okay. I believe that people should be able to see for themselves what politicians that they may or may not vote for
so
are
you
saying,
won't take
judge
them
their
down.
Character for themselves.
So you won't take. You may flag that it's wrong, but you won't take it down.
Congresswoman, it depends on the context that it shows up. Organic post, ads, right. the treatment is a little bit different.
One more question. In your ongoing dinner parties with far-right figures, some of who advance the conspiracy theory that white supremacy is a hoax, did you discuss so-called social media bias against conservatives, and do you believe there is a bias?
Congresswoman, so I don't remember everything that was in the question.
That's all right. I'll move on. Can you explain why you've named the Daily Caller, a publication well-documented with ties to white supremacists, as an official fact checker for Facebook?
Congresswoman, sure. We actually don't appoint the independent fact checkers. They go through an independent organization called the Independent Fact-Checking Network that has a rigorous standard for who they allow to serve as a fact checker.
So you would say that white supremacist-tied publications meet a rigorous standard for fact checking? Thank you.
Okay. So are those clear policies to you? Is that understandable at all? He made no sense. Went to Harvard. Should be able to communicate relatively well in his native tongue. English? No. No sense. And I think that's by design, because he is a smart guy. It is by design to muddy the waters, to make things murky. Not easy to understand. And as an aside, the point there about, so you would say that white supremacist-tied publications meet a rigorous standard for fact-checking. Mark Zuckerberg has dinner with Tucker Carlson. The same Tucker Carlson who said immigrants make our country dirtier.
Our country's economy is becoming more automated and tech-centered by the day. It's obvious that we need more scientists and skilled engineers, but that's not what we're getting. Instead, we're getting waves of people with high school educations or less. Nice people, no one doubts that, but as an economic matter, this is insane. It's indefensible, so nobody even tries to defend it. Instead, our leaders demand that you shut up and accept this. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided.
So that guy, one, having dinner with Mark Zuckerberg, would you have dinner, pal around with on a... let's not even talk like your family. You got a racist uncle that you have to spend time with because he's your uncle and he's hanging around on Thanksgiving. This is someone Mark Zuckerberg is choosing to dine with, choosing to break bread with. Immigrants make our country dirtier. And then allowing him a fact-check power over content on Facebook. The Daily Caller, founded by Tucker Carlson. Not to mention the fact, and I'll mention it again, that he gave Cambridge Analytica the keys to the kingdom. He is giving Donald Trump a get-out-of-jail-free card, a free pass to run roughshod over the truth, over our democratic norms, and he is in the tank working now, whether unwittingly or not. I'm not going to make that judgment. I'll leave that to you. I'd love to know what you think. But either unwittingly or not, he is working for Donald Trump, for the re-election of Donald Trump, because things that are negative against Donald Trump, they get slapped with these arbiters of truth warnings, and Donald Trump can lie. Donald Trump can do what he wants on the platform of Facebook, not even for free, though. He's paying Mark Zuckerberg millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to do so. This is a problem. Look, I don't know what the answers are here relative to regulating Facebook and Twitter and these online public marketplaces as maybe a utility. But the rules have to apply evenly. Otherwise, free speech rights aren't really free. They're free for some and not so much for others. Equal justice under the law and equality under the law in our system, under the Constitution, is the way it is. And that should trickle down into the way that we run our society as well. Just like presumption of innocence isn't necessarily something that I have to give someone, but the law does. But as a matter of course, of just decency in the way we work, we think of somebody, well, they haven't been proven guilty. We're going to give them a fair shake here. Those types of principles should come down and trickle down into our society. And that is not what's happening right now. While Mark Zuckerberg is saying, I'm not going to call balls and strikes, he's calling balls and strikes. He's given Donald Trump home run after home run while taking the legs out of organizations like the Lincoln Project. It's not fair. It's not equitable. There isn't equality there. Some rules apply for some, they don't apply for others. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. Please, let's mix it up in the comments. I'm sure that if you disagree, we can do it agreeably. You can leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can also leave me an email, daily@dollemore.com. I would love to hear from you. This is important. 2020 in November is coming right up. And we have important decisions to make about moving our country forward, about finally making some progress. Because we have been stunted. We have moved backwards over the course of the last 3 years. And it's time to move on. It is time. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Thanks for sticking around. If you're still around at the end of this, if you appreciate what I do, if I bring value to your day at any level, I would appreciate you considering becoming a channel member. For fewer than $2 a month, you can click that join button, become a member, a channel member here on YouTube, and help support independent media like this, independent opinions like this that are completely unencumbered by corporatism, by corporate media, by Facebook. Well, this is going to go on the Facebook as a YouTube link. We'll see. We'll see how it does on Facebook. Anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Be genuine. And please, take care of one another.